guys.
Hello.
We're out here. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
Welcome to Signal Boost, episode 31. 31 episodes. This is our little arts and culture show that we usually do every Wednesday from the Generator. And I'm Jessie Sprocket, the communications director.
I'm Alicia Dynamic, and I'm the education manager.
I feel like our colors look really good today.
Yeah. Very bright. I feel like we're not in focus, though, for some reason.
Yeah.
The camera doesn't recognize us as human.
We're a little soft.
I'm flattered.
I know you want to be an android.
So.
I wish that I knew that this was actually working based on the 0 viewers.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I guess we'll just roll with it.
I'm just going to go with it.
So what's new with us? What's going on?
What's new with you?
Not a lot of good stuff. So that's cool. I don't know. My baby daddy, husband, partner, and I split up, which is why I haven't been on the show or doing the show, because everything is sad. And it's like, I wish I could put my grief into an exterior place so that I could just put it down and not have to carry it with me through everything that I do every day. But I'm still here and alive, and I have 2 small children, so that's what's new with me. And my son was in the hospital, but it's cool. It's his birthday on Saturday, and he feels better now. That's all. What's up with you?
Well, one thing that was nice is we did just get back from a weekend trip that we went to Kyle Hot Springs. It was really nice. We stayed in Lovelock in an Airbnb and worked on some clown personas.
Clown time.
For a, maybe something we're going to be doing. We'll see. But it was pretty fun. We had a really nice time.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for that, for some creepy clowns around Reno, because it might be us. It might be other creepy clowns, but it also might be us if you see some clowns.
And if you're interested in joining our clown troupe, you can always email us.
Yeah.
You can just email info@therenogenerator.com, even though it's a side project. We'll answer. Or you can
answer.
Yeah, you can get at us. But we are forming this, like, non-binary, queer, femme clown troupe vibe. I think there may be some cis males, too, We'll see. My friend James is really into it, and I'm willing to give him a shot. That's all I'm saying.
Ooh, James, like
Garrison?
James and John.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So think about
James is allowed.
It's like a dark clown, sexy dark clown energy, and now there's a total of like 5 or 6 of us that are invested in this, so that's fun. It'll be pretty cool. That's what's new with us. Clown stuff.
Clown stuff
and hot
mainly.
springs.
Clown stuff mainly, and kids being really sick. My whole family was sick too.
Yeah. The pukes.
With the pukes. What's going around?
Winter life, but it's beautiful out here when it snows. I will say the desert is looking gorgeous.
It is very beautiful in Reno today, and the sky when it snows is always so dramatic. Like the day after, the blue sky and the clouds, like it's very severe in a way for some reason.
Yeah, the drama. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Let us know what you've been doing in the snow. What's up? Have you been hiding and hibernating? Have you
been
out
sledding?
there?
Did you build a snowman?
What have you been doing? Hey, we haven't seen you in 3 weeks. The other new thing with me is that I'm leaving for New Jersey next week. So this will be our last Signal Boost of the year, and then I'll be gone for a while. And then when we come back, I already have a bunch of people who want to be on the show. So it'll definitely pick back up. And if you ever want to be on the show, it's open for everybody who's doing creative, cool things. You could be a small business owner, you could be an activist, you can be an artist, a musician, right? Like anything.
Yeah.
You can even be a cool accountant that wants to help other people or something. Like whatever you're into. Scientists, we don't have enough scientists on the show.
True. We need more scientists, so hit us up.
We're really looking for a geologist.
Oh, I know one.
I mean, like in our crew. But yeah, we can have one on here.
That's true.
So hit us up. info@therenogenerator.com. We'd love to have you on the show and talk about the cool stuff you're doing out here. So this week, we don't have any live guests, but we did a really long, amazing interview.
But very interesting.
Yeah, with Shelby, and we actually filmed it 3 times
Oh, well, yes, kind of. Yeah. A lot of stops and starts, a lot of technical difficulties.
Yeah, well,
But
the
we got it
first
done.
time,
And it's very long, and there's a lot of cool information. She's a really, really interesting person. Reno native, left, came back, has a lot to talk about in the
Yeah.
art world and beyond. Sustainability. We got into some really interesting topics. So,
art and science and where they intersect.
yes.
Environmentalism in art. A lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
So we're
absolutely.
gonna roll with it because it's a long interview. It's really good.
You're
and
just
we
going to
want
pop
you to see
right into it.
It's just gonna take me a second to remember how to do this, everyone. How?
How do you Twitch? Here we go.
Yeah, the main thing is the sound because I think I gotta do something here. Hold on.
Yep. That's good. The speakers, right? Yeah, that's right.
But it's not coming up here.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Hey, see? Sorry, fam. It's always
What
like
if
this
we-
in the beginning.
Mm.
There you go. Alicia can give you a generator update while I try to mess with the sound.
Generator update. Oh my God, I wish that we had a really good one, but unfortunately, we're still in permitting purgatory. We're working on it. I'm not sure where we left it last time, but basically, we are still working to get our occupancy permit. We were told that we do, in fact, need to have more bathrooms. They were not willing. I don't know. I'll just say that basically, when we tried to get our occupancy permit, that we were told that we had, and then we were told that we didn't. So then we had to try and start those wheels turning. And when they came in, based on our square footage, they said we needed 6 bathrooms and we only have 3. Because our max capacity would be 600 people. But so we said, well, can you make our max capacity lower so that, and they said, oh, probably. And that was like a month and a half of being like, yeah, maybe. And then it wasn't possible. So now they said they do need us to do the bathrooms. So we are building a hallway to some other bathrooms in the building because that was the fastest and most economically viable way to do it. So
yeah, like the other half of the warehouse is unfinished. There's literally like a hole in the ground.
yeah, it's
that,
just like
it's
not to
dirt.
code.
It's bad, but it could be worse. It could be worse.
It could be worse.
So
Yeah,
now
it's
we're gonna
not terrible,
build like a plywood hallway, like a tunnel.
It's like a tunnel. Yeah, we're building a tunnel to the other
We're
bathrooms.
just building a plywood tunnel.
So
to
that-
bathrooms.
You know, maybe someone someday will use one of those bathrooms, probably for novelty.
And then there's a nice water bottle refilling station actually after you go through the tunnel.
Well, that's cool at least.
Yeah. So hopefully in the next like 2 months max we'll be open.
We're
is the
hoping for
thought.
January, but we'll see.
Okay, I think I got this figured out.
Guys.
Yeah,
Perfect.
I did it. Okay.
Hey guys.
Hey guys.
Hey guys. All right, let's do it. Let's go to Shelby.
Also, thanks Shelby.
Yeah, thanks, Shelby.
Hey guys.
Hello.
Hello. We are here doing an interview with Shelby. Yeah, it's gonna be great. Local artist, and you were just in Boulder, but now you're back.
Yep.
Reno local, and we're just gonna jump into it. You wanna?
Yeah, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes.
Yes, I can introduce myself. Hi, my name's Shelby McAuliffe. I just completed my Master's of Fine Art in Photography at CU Boulder, and I moved back to Reno in July. I'm born and raised here, have family here, 3rd generation, so very much a Reno local.
Yeah, full disclosure, we did this entire interview a couple days ago, and the audio didn't record. So now we know what we're gonna be talking about, and this interview might not be as good. That's all I'm saying. No, it'll be better. We'll
It's
get
gonna be
into other
better.
things. We're gonna
We've
get into
had
other
some time to
things.
rehearse.
Yeah, it's going to be even better.
And Alicia wasn't here last time.
It's
so
true.
Now we have a bonus person.
Bonus. So, what was
Yeah.
your master's degree in?
So I got my Master's in Photography.
Oh, yeah,
so
you just said that, but it's right.
I can elaborate further.
Yes, but
But did you do a lot of photography in your master's program?
oh my God.
Do
we need to start over?
No, it's fine. It's fine.
But I did get my BA at University of Nevada, Reno in photography and a BA in French studies. And then I took a couple years off, went back to school in Boulder in 2018, did 3 years there, got photography, but one of the things that I did was I actually broke away from doing photography and stopped really working with the camera and still images, and I started working in what I call like immersive installation, multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary work that incorporates acrylics and mirrors and light reflections, and moving, kind of stepping away from just the 2D photography world.
It's cool. You should ask her about her thesis. Yeah, you're like.
Yeah, I should. Tell me about your thesis.
It's cool.
So, my thesis project, which was the culmination of my 3 years in grad school, is called Almost Heard Whispers of the Desert. You can see it on my website, and it's all about Black Rock Desert. And my main concept was breaking away from, most people have a relationship to Black Rock Desert through Burning Man. And when I moved to Colorado, I had a lot of comments about Nevada being ugly and gross and the worst state to drive through, and I just kept getting these comments. And then I started looking into relationships that people have of deserts, and a lot of it is dismissible, void, empty, nothing's there, ugly, not worth being in and around. And this is like, you know, deserts across the board, not necessarily Black Rock Desert specifically. Yeah, not specifically Nevada, but I decided, since I've been, you know, grew up here thinking about home, what's important to me, and the relationship to Black Rock Desert, and so many people who've never gone out to Black Rock Desert outside of Burning Man, that I wanted to create a project that pays homage to the desert itself, and not just kind of the festival or this, you know, fugacious city that comes up and gets torn down, which has its beauty and has its kind of power in the art world.
It's its own thing, but it's not really about the desert.
Yeah.
It's just there.
Yeah, it just exists there.
And in fact, I think serves to, for some people, feed their impression that it is just like an empty, that it is like a nothing. It's a blank, it is a blank, like it acts like as a blank canvas and for that, but it's obviously a lot more. I actually had a friend recently who lives in Reno and has lived here a long time. It's like, can you just go out there? You know, kind of. Like, he's not from here, but I was like, yeah. Like, he's like, do you ever just go out to there? And I said, yeah,
like
I
all
go
of
out
the time.
Yeah, like I go
multiple
out
times
a
year.
few times a year, all the time, and just camp or just hang out or whatever. And he was like, oh, yeah,
hot
it's
springs.
freaking gorgeous. There's so much.
There's
hot
so
springs,
much.
there's wild horses, there's lots of cool stuff. So I love the desert. So I think
Same.
it's a really
Hard
cool
same. Do
desert
you love the desert?
lovers.
Hit us up in the comments.
Tell us how much you love the desert.
So with that project, was it incorporating the light reflection in these things that you've been speaking about too? Cool,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So the project itself had a lot of different. Oh, hi.
Just a small
Just a
child.
small person.
Yeah, with a truck.
He has a truck.
So the project incorporated a lot of different elements to it. So the thesis was the written part, and that's where it talked about the desert and our relationship to deserts. And I brought in, there's a lot of other elements in my 25-page written thesis.
Surely.
But then there's the creative element and the making of the project. And if you go on my website, you can kind of see the breakdown of different elements to it. And I did a call to anyone who'd been to Black Rock Desert that wanted to write a prose, a poem, haiku, write a story, and submit it to the project.
Nice.
And that is what I turned into Whispers. And so it became this audio track that played in the background of my project.
That's awesome.
And so that's one element, the audio that kind of resembles the wind or the air that kind of moves through the desert space. And then the physical element were mirrors on the ground, and then I laser cut acrylic to model the mountain ridges. So I have like Razorback, I've got the Black Rock Point, I've got a representation of Black Rock Hot Springs, Trago Hot Springs, the railroad tracks that goes across. And so kind of bringing in all the elements that exist around Black Rock Desert as these like colorful, really vibrant, blacklit, neon, maximalist color.
Love that.
Sitting on top of the mirrors.
More is more.
More, yeah, more, add more, add more. And so then...
Unlike the desert, right? The austere, I don't know.
It's a juxtaposition, if you
the
will.
juxtaposition of two.
Sure,
Well, it has, there's elements of kind of the glow of things at night too, that when the moon comes out, that I think resembles that. And even the installation kind of resembles the like coral reef, because coral reef had, besides the ones that are being bleached before they're bleached and dying. They're very colorful. They're very neon. And then, you know, one of the things I talk about in my thesis too is kind of is the history. Truck down. The history of Black Rock Desert being a prehistoric lake bed. And so it used to be this ancient sea, and so there's this element of connection to water and the kind of the arid playa that it is now, because it once was. And part of my concept is time and thinking about land and environment and our relationship to time. And so the mirrors lay on the ground, and then there's acrylics that sit on top. And when you look at it, it's the present, right? We live in the present, it's physically there. And then the reflection, when you look into the mirror, is the past. And then when you reflect light, so then the other element of the project is people bring flashlights in, and then you can reflect over the mirrors, and it projects these, you know, kaleidoscopic, you know, moving images on the ceiling, on the walls of color and mirrors that are overlapping.
That's cool.
And that turns into the future. And so it's all this through line, this connection of past, present, future, this connected element. And it's of the same objects, same things, but in these different perspectives and different ways of viewing and seeing them.
So a lot of what you're talking about makes me think of this project called the Long Now Foundation, if you've ever heard of that. So it's like an organization that kind of funds art, I believe, and kind of creates projects and whatever, and contributes to the cultural consciousness around thinking in terms of like long periods of time, like thinking about how instead of just being so focused on the, you know, the current moment, and or like, you know, one thing they talk a lot about is how we make a lot of decisions based on our political system, and how that's all these 4-year cycles, and it's like that's part of what's that's like a perspective that's actively damaging. Like we see that in the ways we're handling climate change and things like that, that we're not thinking in these terms. Like an example they gave was folks who would like plant a tree that was going to grow into the type of tree that they would then chop down and use the trunk for a mast for a tall ship. Like how that's the type of, like that's a way people used to be thinking. And they're like, just as an example of how far removed that is from how most people think now, like this person planting that tree would know they weren't gonna like live to see that ship completed, but like that it's important as humans, if we're gonna be like a more successful version of our species, to think in those terms, like to contribute to like the long range experience, or the happenings, what's going to happen. So
that's actually like one of my favorite aspects of sci-fi, is that it's so long term, you know. You're talking like everything is like multi-generations, you know, like in the stars, space travel. It's just it's so much cooler to think about things in that way, you know. And it's broad strokes of how things are connected, not just in our present day, how our lifetime of 100 years or 80, however long we live as a single person, human. One of the things that I talked about in my thesis is, you know, I have the relationship of the past, present, future in the visual, but thinking about what's happening in the past is the prehistoric sea. We've only ever known Black Rock Desert as arid playa. Like our lifetime, it's only ever been arid. But there's the Aral Sea in Russia, which is currently, it is becoming an arid playa. And so the communities that live around that used to survive off of the sea are now living on desert land and next to an arid playa. And so we're witnessing, right? And it's this happening now. And then there's this futuristic element of living on another planet. And I talk about this in my thesis, and I think it's pretty ironic that we are planning to live on Mars, or like there's this idealized version of living on Mars and bringing people to Mars, where it's far more desert than anything else we have here on Earth, and we can't figure out how to even live, you know, create habitats or live together with the desert here on Earth.
Yeah, in a sustainable, reasonable way, right?
Yeah, and in our present day, and thinking about this long-term environmental justice, and in, you know, how the environment's impacted by what we do today in a 10-year, 20, 50 year it has been very challenging to get people to think about it in that way. So that's a great foundation.
Yeah.
Definitely gonna look into that.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about a friend the other day who she was saying, and she's older than me, and she was getting a new stove, and she like went to this, and they were trying to convince her to get like an insert, like a gas insert. And she was like, no, I want like a wood burning stove. And they were trying to sell her on it, and she's like, you know, honestly, a lot of it's just like environmental for me. I want something that has like a sustainable fuel, and these gas ones, like, they're not. You know, it's and that concerns me. Like that's a fuel we're gonna run out of. Like, I don't see I don't want to invest.
Is air pollution.
Yeah, but it's overall, but it's, you know, it's more sustainable than a gas stove. And burning wood is carbon neutral. But either way, she, you know, we're going to run out of those gases, right, and stuff. And the man who was like, well, you know, neither of us are going to live to see us run out of it. Like, we're going to be dead before we run out of these gases. Like, you don't need to be worrying about that. And she was like, well, I mean, like, there are small children in my life that I care about. Like, what about them, you know? But it's like, it was just interesting to me that it's like, not only people thinking that way, they're like outwardly, you know, that you're like, it's not even like subconscious. People are like, I'm not even going to live to see that. And it's like,
why should I care?
Like,
why does this matter?
Like, how do we get that mentality back on track?
There's so
right?
much like cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like, oh, well, I'll be dead by then. Cool.
I mean, you know, the moon can explode tomorrow, and we'll all be dead in a few hours.
The moon probably will explode tomorrow, so.
There's a lot of what ifs.
Sorry,
There's a lot
guys.
of what ifs of these things not happening, and how are you going
to
continue
absolutely.
living if those don't happen?
The planet has also been just fucking hanging out in space for millions and millions of years, so.
How did you start doing this art where you have more of an environmental slant and where you're bringing in these other kind of thoughts instead of just photography, which was what you were doing when you were doing a BA? I mean, just photography, but you know.
Yeah, so a lot of what I did when I got into grad school, I mean, you start grad school and you're like, I don't know, at least I started and I was like, what the hell am I doing? What am I doing? I don't even know, what style do I have? What do I care about?
It seems to be a lot of what you're doing in grad school, though, right? Is
you're
trying to define these things, right?
That. Yeah, and so I just started just thinking of what ideas did I care about, and I had come up with this. My first grad school project I thought about before I was in grad school, and I was listening to podcasts about ecology studies and sound and audio and how that can relate to learning about habitats and how animals die off and like come into a land. And so it just was like temporally, like in that moment, like the year before I was in grad school, I was just researching a lot of environmental justice-based like studies. And I came up with this project called Urban Biophony that I made in my first semester, and that had so much to do with
cool name.
Thank you. And I'll explain it. I'll explain it in a second. And it was fueled by what I was listening to, and then it just was this snowball effect of like coming into the grad program. I had applied to Sierra Arts Foundation and got the curatorial grant, and so I started making that, and then I got into grad school, so I got more grants to make it, and then that just kind of like sparked initiative. And then the next year I applied to another summer fellowship, and I collaborated with a environmental studies PhD student, Denise Fernandez at CU Boulder, and her and I, the whole kind of like summer fellowship was based on environment studies and art. And so the whole idea was like environmental justice and art, and that kind of like we collaborated together and created a whole project on fracking in Colorado.
Oh, wow.
And so that was a little bit more on the photo side. I did go, like, that's a project I did photography in, but that was, you know, and then it just kind of was one thing after another, like, oh, this is what I'm interested in, this is what I care about, this is where I'm finding like passion and drive to continue to do research outside of just making art, but research, what laws and policies are being made about fracking in Colorado, who's doing the research on air pollution in Colorado. And so that's kind of how I got into environment being kind of my crux, my focus in art creation. And so Urban Biophony is like this, kind of also started my snowball in working with acrylic. I applied for the Sierra Arts Foundation grant, and it was this idea of having this like canopy of leaves and like this aspen grove, this facade of aspens hanging above your head in the gallery. And what I wanted to do was wirelessly connect speakers to microphones out in the city. And so biophony is an ecology term, bio meaning life, phony meaning sound.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the chorus of all the animals that, in a habitat that, the bugs and the birds and all the animals, like whatever noises they make.
I didn't realize it
Their
was
biophony.
actually a real word. Like,
Yes.
when you said it, it felt immediately obvious to me what it meant,
Yeah.
but I didn't realize that it was actually an existing word. I thought you just like made this
Combined.
like portmanteau.
I wish.
And I was like, wow,
Bernie,
that's
I have
so
to give
cool.
credit to Bernie Krause. He's the one that created
Bernie
that
Krause.
word. Yeah,
Nice
Bernie
word,
Krause.
Bernie.
So he was listening to podcasts about him and his research,
Cool.
and so that's where I learned about biophony. And so when something disrupts the biophony, oftentimes it's anthrophony, so the human sounds, anthro meaning man. So like a
construction site.
construction site, planes, even just urban sprawl, roads being built nearby a habitat, and that disrupts the frequencies or the tones or the chorus of all the animals.
Sure.
And so animals leave the land, they come into the land, and so it throws it off.
In the ocean, right? Like, is that
All that too,
all
yeah.
the things with the boat noises, how it like messes with all the marine mammals?
Wildlife. It's across the board. Yeah. How audio impacts everything, and also how audio, through auditory research, we can learn about what's being impacted too.
Yeah.
And then there's actually there is a study being done with audio for marine wildlife with coral reefs, where they're actually implementing the sounds of coral to bring fish back to the coral reef.
Oh, wow.
And so they're using audio to actually try and revive the coral reef.
Huh.
So having the fish come back somehow fix the coral though?
Well, this
Well,
must not be the dead coral. Or is
It's
it?
like dying coral, and so fish help. It's like the whole ecosystem. Like fish help. So when the coral starts to die, the fish start to leave. It might be toxic. Or, there's a bunch of different elements that cause the habitat, the decline of the ecosystem. But if you bring the fish back around the coral to like repropagate or like maybe move the coral around to like grow in different places, it can help maybe
Cool.
regrow the coral. Is the
if you've
hope.
like also solved the problem that killed it, maybe. Like,
Yeah, with the
like it was
acidity,
like a
pH
oil
levels,
spill or
oil, yeah,
whatever.
stuff like that. If it's
clean
not
it
totally
up.
dead.
Yeah, you might be able to turn it back. That's cool.
Yeah,
They could turn it around
yeah.
With sound.
With sound, with audio.
with sound, baby.
Yeah. So there's a lot with audio that is good and bad.
Sure.
But to finish, so Urban Biophony was installed in the gallery. It had this like acrylic aspen grove above your head, and then I installed speakers that played bird calls, like mountain chickadee, sailor jay, dark-eyed junco, yellow-headed blackbird, all the birds that you would like hear in the Sierras. And then those speakers were wirelessly connected to microphones out in the city surrounding the gallery that picked up the anthrophony, so the volume level of what was happening outside, sirens or people talking, and that actually dictated what bird call played in the gallery.
Huh.
And so it was this
Interesting.
man-made, hyper-synthetic faux reality of like a nature hike when you walked through it, and it was all being caused and created by the anthrophony, and as an environmental conversation of our impact on nature and wildlife, and eventually this might be our only experience of wildlife or nature, depending on how far we go.
Yeah.
So that kind of that really
That's cool.
that idea I took that on and I just
I love
ran
that.
with it.
I do a lot of stuff with like electronics and thinking about the way. That's cool. That's a really cool concept of like a way to sort of make people think about that. The way that we're affecting our little birds.
Because they adjust their
Everything
songs,
else.
like
Yeah,
they will change their tone, their pitch to be heard differently if they live in an urban landscape versus in the mountains.
Wow. I mean, that makes sense, right?
Yeah, we live over by a bird preserve, and right on the edge of it, they're putting in all these new housing developments and condos and stuff, and they have all of the construction vehicles parked right by the entrance,
By, the
to the
wetlands.
preserve. Yeah. Oh my God, it's so much. Every time I go over there, I just have that feel, right? Of look how obvious this encroachment is. And
Yeah.
then, of course, everyone's all oh, the coyotes and the things are near my land. It's you are in their land. Go home. And not here.
Different home. Go to a different place. I mean, it's a catch-22. I mean, we are living beings. We are animals just like any other animal.
Yeah.
so how do we contend with our metropolitan growth and what we have decided we like to live in and with and around and create, but how can we, I don't know, effectively consider our impact without totally saying we're not worthy or worth our own.
Yeah, like without it going the opposite direction, which you see a lot of people just being like, we should just wipe humans out, right? Like if humans were just taken off the planet, and which also, is again like a type of like, what is it? Anthropocentrism. What's the word?
Anthropocene, anthrocentric.
It's like an anthrocentric like view in its own right, because it's like treating us as something beyond, like we are a natural occurrence on this planet as a species. So
as much as anything else
we are part of, like, nature is not separate from us. Like we are part of nature, even if we have learned to modify it and frankly fuck it up.
yeah. I mean, it's, not to totally just,
to let us off the hook. But,
yeah.
But it's like, it is, I think it is useful to think in that way, in a more positive sense of like, how can we coexist, right? So what's next for you now that you're back in Reno?
Okay, yeah, what's next?
Done a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
Just finished, so now you're back, and you've been back, I've been back almost 6 months.
6 months. So I'm just about to start, at the end of the year, I'm going to start working with one of my friends out in Boulder remotely. We'll be doing event production working as her assistant and focusing on sustainability as the main focus and drive for event production. Instead of having paper straws and plastic cups, how can we actually effectively create an event that has less waste, has less, superfluous items purchased for it. Supporting local businesses instead of large corporations to cater or create the, whatever's being built for the event.
What kind of events? So like a specific kind that you're targeting, or like
they
more
vary.
general?
They vary. There's, maps and horizons, and working with Avalanche, which is like a crypto based company. So it'll kind of like, it varies. I mean, it's a contract-based kind of like work. So yeah.
Initially, it sounds like you're going to be working with more like cutting edge kind of thing, which would make sense. It's more like the types of, I don't know, groups or whatever like that are interested in that.
Yeah, or have it,
doing things in a different way.
Yeah, because the business model really is, it's sustainability first, organic food, naturally grown. And if you don't want to pay for that or support where we're going to source, then hire a different producer, right? So that's at the end of the year. And then, trying to figure out where to show my thesis so that the acrylics and the mirrors, it's hard to explain on, just to visualize it. You can see it on my website and on Instagram.
And what is your website and your Instagram?
Yeah, I can spell it out. So McAuliffe Photography, MCAULIFFE photography.com. And then my Instagram is McAuliffe.photography.
Cool. And we'll put them in the
underneath bar.
In the ticker.
Yeah. And then, the I don't know, the evolution of the acrylics and mirrors can really grow and expand. And I've only done, so I have a traveling suitcase that I take and do kind of like pop-up installations in living rooms. That's more aquatic themed, under the sea. It's got octopus and like coral reef. And then I've got the desert scene. And so then the next, maybe is space, or I don't know.
Yeah.
But gotta find
so if you have a venue or an event that this would be a good fit for, you can reach out. But anyway, so that'd be awesome to see those installed somewhere in Reno or somewhere in the greater
Pop-up suitcase.
Pop-up suitcases. It needs a very specific parameters, like lower ceilings. I mean, it's reflected light, so it's not its own light source. So it definitely has to be, can't be like vaulted ceilings, or it's got some parameters. But generally, I can work it out. Most living rooms work
perfect in your living room.
Make little tents and like have little tented experiences.
Actually, I've done a couple outdoor events out in Colorado, and it works great in a canvas tent. Everyone can lay down and experience it in the
It
canvas.
does sound
Yeah.
nice.
So there's options.
One of
There
those
are.
bougie glamping like bell tents.
Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly what
This actually
it is.
reminds me of Alicia and I in 2011 Burning Man. We had our friend Guyton
Oh, the egg.
that made an egg, which was like a trampoline base with like
It was like
an
white
egg
fabric.
dome, like egg-shaped dome over the trampoline with white fabric, pulled hot, and then it was like bird sounds.
It was all different types of like
Nature
ambient,
sounds.
ambient.
And the ambient
I
sound.
don't even know why or what the point was, but
Just to do something.
just like a trampoline egg full of sound.
We spent
I
a lot of
love
time in
that.
that thing.
It was
Oh.
very nice. It was very nice.
Yeah, that's the dream.
Mm-hmm.
That's the dream. That
It was
sounds
like
amazing.
yeah, a little immersive nature auditory experience in the playa.
Yeah, so Urban Biophony actually was I first thought like Burning Man would be so cool to have this
Yeah.
like auditory map
Yeah.
of like what's happening in the city, and then you go out and have this like
That would be cool.
bizarre nature experience of this.
Maybe
like,
this year.
Yeah, well, maybe next year
Yeah.
because I applied in 2018, but I didn't quite have the right engineering kind of like fabricators, the right kind of team to build it.
Sure. Yeah,
and
it's a
it
whole
takes
thing.
it's a whole thing, and with the tech, it's going to be really challenging to get the radios.
Burning Man art. Like who
I
would
know.
want to do that?
I know, who does
Who
that?
would do that?
Jeez.
Who would literally
here at the
rearrange their
dinner.
entire lives around that? Certainly not us.
What losers?
Here at the generator, no.
It's weird. It's weird. Was there anything else you'd like to?
Yeah, well, I don't know. We talked about
Oh, we talked a lot about like why would a person go to grad school versus just being out there doing their art, and why did you make the choice to go back to school?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Especially when it's hella expensive and gatekept.
Yeah,
everything. I have a mic. Everything is gatekept. Everything is gatekept.
true.
It's true.
But how much gatekeeping do you want to put up with? There's different levels of gatekeeping. So we'll start off with grad school. It's not necessarily for everyone. It doesn't need to be like the be all end all for any artist. Because to be a doctor, you need to go to med school. But to be a successful artist is so determined on like your drive, your motivation, your passion, like the realm in which you want to create art, right? And talking about
Sometimes just luck, right? Like
And
sometimes
just luck,
happening
yeah.
into the
So
right opportunities at the right time.
definitely talk about that
It's a
a
huge part
lot.
of it.
You know, it's who you know, it's connections you have, it's the networking you're able to make, and that doesn't necessarily mean grad school is the place for those connections. It's a very specific, academia is a very specific pathway of networking that is a different sector than, what the generator's doing. It's like they work and they end up, I feel like there still is like the money and the funding still can come from the same people, but it just is a different tendril of art, a place of making art and creating art. And so getting an MFA for me was my personal drive of interest in creating work and the success of artwork is to create work that has a backing in scholarly research and publishing books or showing in museums and galleries that have the ability to potentially make change in that kind of like conceptual bound ideology. And that doesn't mean that anyone without an MFA can't create work in that way.
Sure.
But I went through and jumped through those hoops because a lot of people to show in museums or get published with scholarly research, they want to see that MFA as you did the work, the canon, the history, you've been in the classes, you can reference, artists that have made work similarly prior to you, or like how are you making work that's in conversation with what's happened or what is happening.
Yeah.
And so it's like a certificate saying that you've done your due diligence to research where things are in the
When
art
you've also
world.
done all that due diligence too, right? Like you learn, isn't a big part of what you learn in grad school about like the whole, the fine art like establishment and understanding what it is and how to navigate it and what people are even doing there, right? Like,
And so that's the MFA is kind of that like stamp certificate, but it, like I said, like it's gatekeeping, but it doesn't mean that you need to go into an MFA to learn about or know anything.
Sure.
These,
it's like
these
anything,
things, right?
Well, not like anything. I mean, there's a lot, like you said. But
should go to med school if you're going to be a doctor.
yes.
But And so for me, that was my drive of success. And I know for myself, I really enjoy the container of school. I like the think tank. I like having the cohort of people that I could talk to, collaborate with, share ideas, get critical feedback of whether or not the idea was sound. Does it make sense? Is it actually coming through? Having the opportunity to network. I mean, I went into grad school, majority, like, main reason was networking. Like, I wanted to meet people that could bolster my career, my personal career, which I succeeded in that. Like, I've met so many amazing artists that have like helped me along in the last year or two that I've worked with, and so it just, that was my intention. That was my goal. I've also been interested in teaching, and to to become a collegiate professor, then you have to have an MFA, totally. Right? It's that stamp certificate that there's certain goals,
the academia track, right? So
that you need to have that, and so that was thought, okay, maybe I could be a professor, and that would be a way to incorporate art in the direction that I was interested in going.
Sure.
So that's how I ended up deciding to go into MFA, because I took 3 years off of my undergrad and was like, I don't know if I want to put money into that. I don't, right? Like,
fair.
I don't know if I want to sink
smart, I think,
40 grand,
sure.
60 grand into an art degree.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough, the CU Boulder offers stipends and teaching experience for 3 years, and not every art school offers that. And I mean, CU Boulder's not even really an art school; it's an art department in the university, right? And so I was fortunate enough to find a program that I didn't sink myself into a boatload of debt. And not all programs are like that. Yeah. But if you can find them, that's definitely a route to go. And I think I was struggled with it the whole time I was there, because I've been going to Burning Man since I was like 18.
Oh wow.
And like I have this, like, my foot in the DIY, the like this world of art that exists outside of fine art, academic art. And only in the last 2 years are they being shown in galleries or museums, right? Like, it's only the last couple of years where the greater mass of fine art is like, ooh, Burning Man, actually, this is hot. Yeah, like, we're totally into this now. Like, we recognize what you're doing is actually relevant.
Yeah.
And so there's this, it's only like a new thing that the fine art world is, the capital A art. It's like, taking notice. And so I go into grad school in this academic sphere, and I have like one foot in Burning Man and installation and festival art that is like just fun and play and totally like maximalist and has like beautiful concepts, but it's not like what academia views as
it's like
worthy.
It's like a counterpoint to the process.
And I mean, the whole point of Burning Man too is this anarchist, this like breakaway, like breaking out of what that container was, right? And then I'm in academia, and so I have this like contending inner self.
That's cool, though. I think that's cool.
That I
give
had
you an
to
interesting perspective.
Yeah, it definitely did. I mean, I didn't share that I had gone to Burning Man for the first year that I was there. Like, that was like a whole part of myself that I was like, I don't know. I don't know about these people. They're from the Midwest, and like some people they would maybe freaked out by some of the things that I've seen or experienced or have done. You know, I don't want to.
Or even more so by the things that they think it means you've seen or experienced or
exactly.
done, right?
Yep.
Less so maybe than the reality, more the
of this like.
At least that's my experience of Burning Man.
Totally.
Is the people's impression of what it must be like is often way more wild than my actual experience.
Like,
I would say my experiences have been pretty wild, but
but then some
people have some
fabricated
crazy ideas about what it's like.
So so that why would someone get an MFA? It just aligned with my goals and what I wanted to do as far as
that's cool.
Creative, endeavors. And
you did it.
I did it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, so one question we always like to ask people is if you were giving advice to someone, sort of an emerging artist on a similar path, what's the advice you would give them?
So one of the things that I give my students in my intro photography classes is this Helsinki bus metaphor. And it's written by it's like a graduation ceremony speech for photography students, but it kind of works in all walks of any artist. And the idea is it's about going to the bus station, and when you get to the bus station, all the buses there have like multiple lines. One bus you hop on, it's got line 36, 12, 5, and 4, and there's a bunch of people on it, and everyone's making art. And the idea is that when you're on the bus with all the people, you're comparing your work to each other, and it looks like someone else, and you start photographing, and it looks like Sally Mann, or, you know, maybe your paintings look like Monet, or, you know, someone else, you know, that is
Like an established
artist. And so everyone's comparing you to someone that you're inspired by. But the idea is to stay on the bus, stick with it, stick with what you're working on, stick with what you're passionate about, and eventually that bus line turns into just line 12, and you're the only one on that bus. And when you're the only one on that bus, you're no longer being compared, and it's just your style, it's your work, it's originally yours. And so it's kind of a reframe of just sticking with it and sticking with what you're doing, because even if right now it looks like someone else's because, you know, maybe you trained under someone, or you're the protege of someone, or the apprentice, sure, it's going to have like tendrils of whoever you learn from, but if you keep working, keep progressing, it'll eventually become yours, and it's becoming
your
your
own style is going to shake
it's
out
gonna,
eventually.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I think that's just a really helpful metaphor for beginning and intro level students or artists who are getting like bogged down in this comparison mentality, or God, what's it called? Imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Of like not,
Absolutely.
you know, right? Like you are your worst critic, and
especially since I think artists do, especially more newer in their career, you do see people comparing them to other people all the time, and I also have seen how people will get defensive, you know, like people don't people don't realize they're saying something rude, but like they're not meaning it in a rude way, but then they're like, oh, you know, it feels like they're being accused of copying the person you're comparing them to.
Yeah. Or, you know, oh, so you don't think it's, you know, dang, you know, shoot, I didn't want it to look like Judy Chicago. I want
you don't want it to look like someone else's work.
So that's one thing that I would tell anyone, or kind of insist on reading that metaphor, that theory, is it's really kind of a reframe, a nice reframe, and to just stick with what you're passionate about and really try and find what drives you as an artist and a creative, and to not feel stuck in whatever you've been working on, because it changes. Like I went into photography, and eventually I moved away from photography. I had worked 10 years in photography, went to grad school, and realized, okay, wait, not all my ideas are photographs. Not all the creative ideas I have exist as a photograph. And so reframing and reshaping, well, what is actually something that drives me?
Being open to allow your work to evolve. Don't pigeonhole yourself.
Don't pigeonhole yourself. Exactly. Yeah, and I think
which is hard not to do.
Yeah. Well, there's a complicated.
Because you start to feel like, oh, but I'm known for this.
I'm
this
known
is
for
my
this,
thing.
or like I've spent 10 years
I find myself
learning
doing that
this.
a lot.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, can I really move completely
This is my
away
skill set.
from what my thing is?
There's and I think there's, you know, catch-22 in that, because you do want to become good, like master medium or material. You know, I think that there was the benefit for me to spend 10 years really only photographing and being a photographer. Like that was what I did. Yeah. And that really kind of like codified and solidified me as a photographer, but as a creative as well. And so then I was able to go into grad school and say, okay, well, how can I incorporate these other skill sets that I have that aren't as fine-tuned, and I probably am not as, you know, proficient in them as photography, but it doesn't mean I can't work in those mediums.
Right.
And, you know, and I think there's, even in grad school, there's a little bit of pushback of like, well, you're a 2D artist, so why are you making 3D? Like, you don't understand sculpture, like you didn't study sculpture. And so there's definitely, you'll get that tension depending on what community you're in. But stick with what does the idea actually call for?
Yeah.
And take the time to actually learn the medium. And I think, you know, don't be afraid to try it, but also, you know, if it's not a medium that you're good at, can you outsource? Is there a way to collaborate with someone? Is there a way to kind of bring someone in so that, you know, I'm not a welder, but if I have an idea for welding, I'm going to bring someone in that can help me, and we can collaborate to make something happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
So things like that.
That's cool. That's great advice. Well, thank you so much for coming and talking with us today and putting up with our myriad technical difficulties that we have getting through this interview, which might be obvious to you by how spliced together it is. But anyway,
that'll be great.
But I look forward to seeing your next installation in Reno.
Yeah, me too.
It's gonna be awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, it was a long interview, but it was a good one, I felt like.
Yeah, definitely.
And there's a lot of my son Cassidy and his trucks. That's cute.
Just a little of that, really.
We have
Trucks.
a couple short videos.
That's what he does. He follows you around and goes, truck,
Yeah.
truck.
He's really
Truck.
into trucks. We're gonna have his party at Coconut Bowl on Saturday, so you know.
So come.
You can stop by. It's at 1. It's at 1.
Just come.
No.
1 o'clock, Coconut
Yeah.
Bowl.
Just like come.
No
and bring-
presents required.
Yeah. Please don't bring any presents. I have too many things in my home.
These kids all have way too much shit. No presents, please.
But you can come and like play arcade games, and we could do blacklight golf carts. Golf carts? Go karts.
Go karts. I've not been there yet.
Yeah. You don't know what's about to happen.
I'm in trouble.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Elsa. Okay, so I have this little video of the Sparks. So we made a parade float for the City of Sparks parade, which was super cool. We did, I don't know, I keep looking at you.
I keep like, there's something in my eye.
Just trying to get you engaged. We made this little train, and then we also made the Santa float, and then
It's over here.
Rail City
There's the
Casino
train ready.
sponsored it. There's a train all the way back there.
The train and the surly bird.
And the surly bird. Yeah, so Rail City sponsored the Santa float, which was hilarious, and then I drove them around, and they gave me a Rail City sweatshirt. They were so sweet, and they said the ropes there are really good, so we should go. I actually, no lie, tried to go last Wednesday after the Voodoo Glow Skull show, which was freaking epic, and they stopped serving food. So I couldn't.
You tried to get some sweet ribs?
Yeah, because Elbow Room's like right by Rail City. I was like, man,
Damn.
this might work out where I could get fucking good ribs.
Could have
right
been
now.
cool.
No, it was over. But I made a little video. Charged Heart Productions came and filmed for us. They're like just an awesome group of people that keep showing up and doing free video and photography for the generator, and that's really sweet because we can't keep track of it all. So I wanted to play
We need
this.
help.
We need help. There's only 7 of us, and we have a lot of stuff we're trying to do.
Yeah.
And and Sienna and Disco did most of the build, and they did a great job.
They did an
and also,
amazing job. And also Liz, our board member, donated so much of the decorations.
Yeah, and John Johnson's the
Who
one
owns
that
an event
found the
company.
train.
Yes,
Yeah.
John Johnson. Found
And
the train.
James.
And James was being James.
Yeah, and there were some people, someone I don't even know who's like an engineer guy came and just made the cattle pusher. He just like quietly made this stunning cattle pusher for the train.
Cattle catcher.
Cattle catcher. There were just a couple of like.
Don't you love that it's called that? Did you know that, dear viewer, that like thing that goes off the front of the train
But
that's
why
like
would it
got
be
the
a pusher? It's gonna. It's not catching.
I know, but it's called the cattle catcher. I think.
Sure. I think it's a pusher.
Well, it is pushing. Well, I don't
Okay,
know if that train's
all right.
moving fast. It's just splat.
We're getting off topic. Here's a video we made. Oh, and Alicia did. She did like a little craft with the kiddos. So that's the beginning
Yeah,
of
we
this
did
video.
cute little holiday ones. It was very fun.
Yeah.
Hi, we're back.
So that was fun. You know what?
It was
Parades
fun.
are exhausting, not gonna lie. Like, we got there at 10 a.m. I don't think we ended up going because we were the last car since we were Santa. I think we, like, started moving at 2 p.m. It was kind of bonkers.
Yeah.
But
Well,
super
you guys
fun.
didn't start moving until 2.
Because the parade starts at 1.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I that's when I left.
Must be nice.
It took me 45, can I just tell you though, it took me 45 minutes to get from where I was tabling doing that kids activity, because I stayed behind when everybody else went to go do the parade to like break down the activity that we've been doing. And I had parked on the other side of the street because I'm an idiot and hadn't worked at a parade before. And
That's not true. You've worked at a parade before. I'm in gay pride, but usually we're there after
well,
the
I
parade.
mean, like, okay, but I like not. I like didn't consider the fact that I was gonna get stuck, and it took me 45 minutes to get my car back to load it up, and it was like, you know, you could see it, like you could see my car, like
It's parade life, man.
it was like I had to walk so far, and then I had to drive so far. I was literally driving behind a group of horses in costumes for like 15 minutes, like, you know, as fast as horses go, walking in the road.
I love that.
2 miles an hour or some bullshit. It was crazy.
But hit us up if you want us to make parade floats for you. We're down. And also, we're definitely going to be
Parade
making...
Float Factory.
What? Dude,
Hashtag Float Factory.
I have a friend who makes the Mardi Gras. He works at Mardi Gras World in NOLA.
That's a thing.
It's so cool. It's such a cool job. 100% would move to NOLA for that job. Yes, making dude, that's real artistry. And some of
It's
the
amazing.
can I just tell you, first of all, you should go on a tour if you ever go to NOLA. Just a sidetrack here, but also they have float pieces from the 1930s and like 1920s, and they will repurpose and reuse them.
Wow.
And they will like be like, oh, this calls for this kind of a vibe. We're gonna select this from like the 1920s collection as like a centerpiece for this float.
Wow.
And the warehouse is humongous.
Wow.
And it's just full of stuff like that. It's
Sounds
really,
cool.
really cool. Yeah.
Wonder how they keep it all organized.
It's very loosely organized.
How would you know, though, where the thing is that you need for the vibe?
I don't know. And then they have all these little tables, and they have all these people who are just the painters, and they just have like tiny little work tables, and then they have like these huge statue pieces, and they're just
Cool.
doing intricate stuff.
It's very cool.
It's really cool. Just an aside for you.
People have all kinds of jobs.
Yeah. But we definitely will be making a float for Northern Nevada Pride Parade this year. So if you ever want to,
Going all out.
yeah, be on that float or design that float with us, please do.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun. Okay, the only other thing we have besides Instagram Roundup, just wait a second, is my roommate and brother is doing this project called Prospero, named after the character from Shakespeare, and he's taking a shuttle bus. He's also my dungeon master. I play D&D, and not the other kind.
The fantasy kind.
yeah, the
but not that
fantasy kind.
fantasy kind.
So,
the
yeah,
tabletop role-playing
tabletop
game
role
type.
playing. So he's the DM, and so he's taking the shuttle bus and he's turning it into a roving RPG game space for people with disabilities and queer folks and just like marginalized folks in general who might not have access to like a player's handbook or dice or a community to play with or, you know, like a computer so that they could play online, because we do a lot of online gaming. And he plays with people all over the world. He's in like multiple international games that he plays every week. So it's just a way to get folks who might really want to be into this and have a community and an outlet to have access and have the ability to play. It's really fun. If you've never played D&D,
It's really
it's
fun.
like one of my favorite things in the world. So he's doing this little Indiegogo. I helped him with it, and
We have D20 tattoos.
yeah, we have matching D20 tattoos.
Where is it? There
Yeah, I
it is.
know.
I can't twist
We
my
can't-
arm
we
the
can't-
right
we
way.
can't.
There it is.
Yeah. So watch this video and support my brother, please. No pressure. No pressure. But share it if it calls
I mean,
you.
it's a local
yeah, it's
project.
local.
Creative local project. Here we go.
Hey everybody, my name is Ashwin Isengrim. I answer phones by day and I play Dungeons and Dragons by night. I am a member of the chronically ill LGBT community, but I also live on a small ranch out in Reno, Nevada. And I wanted to show you my project. Behind me is shuttle bus named Prospero, named after the wizard from from Shakespeare. So my main idea is I want to turn this into a rolling tabletop RPG event space. All right, so the main question is, why D&D? I can tell you that there are a lot of different types of tabletop role-playing games that have been around for a long time. Dungeons & Dragons itself has been around since the 1970s. However, it has seen in the past couple of years a big wave of popularity, and that is because of the sheer imagination that you can use in this game. So if you want to be a barbarian with a big axe who rides a dragon, you can do it, and you can do it by writing a story with your friends around a table. Now there's some math and statistics that's on top of it, but really it's a very open, creative, shared, imaginative space. So that's really what I'm looking to put on wheels for people. And yeah, with a lot of resources going online recently, we've been hearing a lot from the chronically ill and LGBTQ communities and how they've been kind of marginalized and kind of gate-kept away from this particular type of game. And this is the exact type of people that I want to engage and give access to. So, equal opportunity to have fun with your friends and share an imaginative fantasy story.
My DM Ash, who I've very much been enjoying gaming with over the course of the pandemic. There's always lots of cool Easter eggs in his games, little pop culture references. He does these fun one-shots of just a variety of themes, from noir to science fiction. He kind of does it all.
Hey there, so I'm pretty new to the Old Dirty Dungeon group, and it's been fantastic so far. Ash has been super welcoming, enthusiastic about any character ideas I throw his way, and he's got some great storylines going on right now that I'm super excited to be a part of. And it's just been a lot of fun. I hadn't played D&D in a while, so it's really great to be back in it and with such an awesome group of people.
The thing I love the most about playing D&D with Ash as the DM is, well, I mean, the ingenuity and like the depth of knowledge of the game, and blending those two things together for such an incredible experience. And that goes across all levels. Like if you're just starting out, or if you've been playing for decades, there's something for you. He's always got something for everybody, and it's such a welcoming experience.
Ash is a true artist when it comes to being a DM. He has honed his craft for many years and always provides high quality and thoughtful gaming to his table. He is a walking encyclopedia who can seamlessly merge any piece of media into his worlds, and he balances being an exceptional storyteller and game designer easily. If you've never played the game before, you can expect somebody who's great at explaining things to make it easy to start playing. And if you have played before, you can expect somebody who brings creative experiences that are always well planned and
So
fun.
right now, it's very bare bones, looks very much like a shuttle bus. However, I'm thinking about going Victorian on the interior. So this will be vermilion walls with mustard yellow accents. An attempt to try to recreate Sherlock Holmes's study. But the main thing that I wanted to get that really starts this project is the hood ornament. This guy. So this is going to be the front of our project, and this is going to be leading the way for every event that we have from now on. So soon, keep an eye out. You're going to see a lot of time-lapse photos of me installing stuff in here, doing paint jobs. Everything is going to be open sourced and available, but I think the first thing I'm going to do is attach this guy. So yeah, stay tuned. You'll see more progress.
Yeah, so that's my brother from another mother, Ash, and his project that he's working on, and it's gonna be really cool. I'm super excited about it, and to see where he goes with it. Oh, now I'm stuck in this Venmo link. Vimeo. Oh, there. Oh, I figured it out.
There it is.
All right, Instagram roundup. What's up? Let's do this, people.
Let's do this thing.
I don't have a lot, so we'll get through it fast. Thanks for sticking around, 5 viewers.
Yeah.
Yeehaw. Where's our Micah when we need it?
I know.
Okay, first thing, Reno Initiative for Shelter and Equality. We love them. We work with them at our place all
They're
the time.
wonderful.
And they're doing these cool angel trees where the families that live at our place, and I think just families that they serve in general, put their like Christmas wish list up. And Lasting Dose is hosting one of these angel trees. You can go and see what the wish is on the ornament, and then you can buy it and support the family, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And Sunday's the last day, so go to Lasting Dose if you haven't
Get
been
over there. It's right in Midtown.
It's right in Midtown.
It's convenient.
It's super cool. They have an art gallery, and they also do tattoos, and they've got one of those like gumball machines where you put the thing in, and then you get like a $100 flash. So it's cool. Stop
So you can go get like a surprise tattoo while you're there.
Yeah, and then send us a photo of it, and we'll put it on the boost. Okay, Coffee and Comics, another business that we love. We talk about them a lot.
We've done Signal Boost from there, as you maybe know.
Shout out to Alex.
Hey.
So they're doing 12 Days of Christmas and all these Christmas themed drink specials.
Nice.
Super delicious. Stop by. They also, I was just there, and they have so many good gifts for the nerds, like talking about D&D. They've got like D&D books, they've got Pokemon, they've got comics, and they also have like so many good enamel pins. If you like have a friend that's really into enamel pins, they have a million of them, and they're awesome.
Bought a super cute enamel pin of a glue gun there one time.
Yes. Lots of cool stuff. My Little Pony stuff, Animal Crossing, everything the nerd wants and needs. The nerd.
Singular.
Yes. Doomed Movements, also known as Ascension Clothing Co. Just put out this cool sticker packs, vinyl sticker packs, and some decals and cool stuff that is other good holiday gift ideas. Local artist that we appreciate.
Yes.
Northern Nevada Moms just put out a holiday guide with Christmas
to
lights.
The lights.
Yes.
Yeah, we got to do that.
If you're a last minute festive person like me, I'm like only Christmas for the last week before Christmas.
Right, for real.
And that is it. Go do these things. Northern Nevada Moms is great.
And my mom just yelled at me today about how I need to take Merlin to go see lights. So
thanks a lot, Grandma.
Thank you for this, because now I can do it. Now I know where to look.
Sierra Arts is doing a holiday pop-up art sale this weekend on Saturday. So if you're like me and you
last
waited till the last
shopping.
minute, go over there, and then you could be like, oh, this is a thoughtful gift from a local artist.
Yeah. Nobody will know you bought it like 4 days before Christmas.
And you know what? It's still thoughtful, even if you bought it 4 days before Christmas.
100%. It's the thought that counts, not the time frame.
Yes. And I wanted to spotlight another local business that's a great spot to go get some cool stuff last minute. Natural Selection.
Ah, yes.
Like you can get a little cute Christmas tree with some moss on it.
That's adorable.
So cute. They're amazing. Emily owns that shop, and she's super cool. I've been a fan of hers since it opened. Yeah,
lots of cool stuff.
You want this. For the hedge witch in your life.
Buy someone this small pig. What the heck?
Picari. Oh yeah, Javelina. Remember?
Picari.
Remember when we were just talking about Javelinas in Sedona? That's what they look like.
Oh yeah,
Fun fact.
Sedona.
Fun thought I had today. I saw a really cute pit bull, like little pit bull puppy, and I was like, man, if I got a pit bull, I would name it Little Pig, or I would just call it Javelina, and I'd call it Halves for short.
That's cute.
Yeah, thanks.
Let's
So that's all. If you want to get me a pit bull puppy, I would be happy.
Oh my God.
Putting it out there. Nevada Humane Society.
Speaking of,
it's like a planned it. I did not though. They will deliver. They will have Santa deliver your animals on Christmas Day.
Are you freaking kidding me?
Oh my God. I'm not gonna be in town, but if someone had a pit bull puppy delivered
to your empty house,
and it was Santa,
to your roommates.
Yeah, just deliver it to my roommates. It's fine. I'll have them take a video.
There's a pit bull puppy just tearing shit up in here.
We're like, Javelina, stop.
Be home in 2 weeks.
Oh my God, I love that. Yeah, you gotta, like, anybody that wanted an animal, like, now it's...
Don't surprise people with one, though.
It says want to surprise your kids or loved one.
Yeah, or your loved one, though. Oh my gosh. Surprise. Whatever. Okay.
Well, a surprise... Yeah.
Surprise someone that you know is ready.
Make an educated surprise.
Send a dog to everyone on your list.
Please don't. It's traumatizing. Look at this kitten. Okay.
Okay.
You can't see it because we're blocking it, but it's down there.
There's a gray kitten. There it
There
is.
it is.
Very small. It's in front of the bear.
That's all I got. Just a couple of fun things. So you can go to the Sierra Arts thing on Saturday. You can go to Natural Selection, Coffee and Comics. Yeah, you got a couple of good options here. And that's all. Have a great holiday.
Yeah.
Thanks. Hey, it's almost our 1 year anniversary, guys. So maybe we'll be open by then and we'll have some sort of party.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Because now we're not gonna have the flea, but we could do other stuff. All right.
Have a nice night. Have a great holiday.
Have a good holiday.
We'll see you in
Bye.
2022.
See you in the future. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Hold on, credits. I got it.